Hi, it's Dean from maverickstar Observatory. Whilst we're on the topic of the coronavirus, I just thought I'd put it in perspective globally and show you how much air traffic is actually up there in our skies at any given moment. I mean, there's 14,000 aircraft, what you're looking at just there. And you can see it is, over pretty much every country on our world, basically. I did notice something else of interest, which I'm going to bring you to. You've probably clocked it, those little yellow blips. They're not like ordinary looking aircraft, are they? I'll show you what those are in a minute, and that's interesting on its own. But can you imagine the amount of people that are in the air right now going to a destination? At any given time there is this amount of aircraft in our air, or if not more. 14,000 times just 200 on average passengers on each aircraft. That's hundreds of thousands of people, millions of people every day travelling all over our world. The global government haven't stopped these aircraft flying, and as long as they keep allowing them to fly, I can understand. No one wants to bankrupt an airline company because if planes are on the tarmac, they're not earning money. You know it as well as I do that as soon as these aircraft land, it's a quick clean, refuel and get it back up in the air, and that's the only way these airline companies can make money, is by keeping that equipment flying and in good condition and as full as possible. But at the same time, they are spreading the virus all over our world. Now, before I forget about it, I says I'd tell you about these little blips here. It's quite an interesting project going on, guys. Don't know whether it is exactly what they say, but with this cursor, if I click on any aircraft, I can see where it took off from, its journey, its arrival and estimated times that it's going to land. I can see how far it is in the journey. This is a great program if you've got nothing to do for 5 minutes and you just want to click on Flight Radar 24. It's a free program. You get to use it for 30 minutes. You do have to put up with a few adverts on there, but you can click on any of these aircraft. You can see where it's travelling to, where it's coming from. Let's just see if we can get something coming from China. And I suppose you could, if you carried on clicking on all these, you'd find something. But the point is, this little thing here looks like a UFO, doesn't it? And you can see that there's quite a few over Bolivia. Now, this project, let me see if I can just pull up here. It's called Project Loon, and the idea of this is to increase, apparently so, wireless networking. And it obviously, as you can see there, has a network speed of 4G light. These balloons operate at 18 to 25 kilometres in the air, and they are supposed to provide communications to remote areas. That's what they're saying they're for. I wonder if they really are, because if they are, as we can see, American aircraft, or at least balloons with equipment on board, then why are they all over Bolivia and not over America? Seem to be clumped together in a certain region, and I'll tell you why I think that's interesting. It's because this region here is also known for something else that we follow on our channel, and that is the Safe Atlantic Anomaly. And there is a good use for balloons in the stratosphere like this, and that is to detect cosmic radiation that is inbound. And that is why it is so important, guys, that we get our own muon detector in this region, because if this is exactly what they're using these balloons for, and as you can see there's quite a lot of them, and I've never seen them on this before, and when I clicked on it I thought that looks a bit like a UFO, but obviously they're selling it not as a UFO but as a communications device. Now it could well be that, but I just think it is very coincidental that this appears in a region where you would want a stratospheric balloon to detect cosmic rays. And if you didn't want to draw attention, then you've got to have a cover story and maybe selling that cover story as a stratospheric communication tower or a repeating tower, so you can get communications into remote places and in, you know, I suppose off the beaten track villages and things like that, then that would be the way to sell it, I suppose. And you know, you've given an answer to pacify the general public. But first of all, as you can see, these are American balloons, but they are mainly in Bolivia. So just thought I'd bring that to your attention. The other thing I wanted to show you, whilst we're on the topic of the coronavirus, I've had to refresh this now. Okay, it's not going to let me do it, I don't think. Okay, so just bear with me guys while I refresh this screen, and we'll try and get this back up, because what I was looking at is all the shipping that is taking place in and around China. So let me get this back up and running, and then I'll come back and show you. 2 seconds. So as you can see Shenzhen there, Hong Kong, and you can see all the ships that are in that surrounding area. There's a lot of activity. You know, they're saying that ships aren't moving out of Hong Kong, but there seems to be a lot of ships in the docks and around Hong Kong actually in transit, and you can pull up any ship you want and get the names of what the ship is. Here we go. The Korean Rainbow. Ooh. So tells you all about the ship, tells you where its destination is, Hong Kong, and you can find out all that data off any ship you want. So this is another good website. You know, you've got a few minutes on your hands and you want to see what's going on around the world. The other one would be good to check would be the Baltic Index, just to see what is, you know, moving around. But yeah, you can see that the ones, some of these ships that are in anchor at the moment, and obviously all the other ones are in transit if they're not in anchor. So there is a lot of activity still moving around Hong Kong. You know, there's ships going in and there's ships coming out, and they're travelling all around the world. So even in the country where all this coronavirus started off from, you know, there is still an active amount of movement. And you know what, it's going to be the course. I can see this getting out of hand, I really can, guys. You know, if they do not put you know, some measures in place, get in touch with all the other global communities and leaders and say, look, if we are going to knock this in the head and fix this problem, the first thing we need to do is stop transatlantic movement. I'm not talking about so much goods, but at least the public traffic. And I know I'm going to get slammed for this, but if we don't do something like this, this virus is going to get completely out of hand, and all that's going to happen is more cities are going to be infected. And you know, I totally agree with the lockdown of cities. You know, stop all these big public events where lots of people are congregating together. You know, something needs to be addressed. And I think even to the point of some emergency procedures put in place, you know, step this up another 6 notches at least, and get something, you know, put in place so that this spread of infection is reduced. Because at the moment it is being allowed to be transported pretty much all around the world. And, you know, I've heard today that it could be up to 21 days incubation period. So people are walking around with no temperature, no signs of illness at all with the coronavirus, and they're spreading it basically. And this is a killer. It's killing people. I'm not sure of the total amount of deaths so far, but or how long it has actually been in circulation, but every day it goes on, it is going to kill more people and it is going to spread. And you know, I am starting to think whether it would be now a good time, even for myself, just to get a few more stocks and supplies in, just in case I have to bunker down for a little bit here at the observatory and you know, just ride out this storm for as long as I can. Because for sure I'm not at the moment, even though there's only a few cases in the UK, and that those are known cases. We don't know what the story is for the unknown cases, but it could be a lot worse than what we think. And we've got probably 3 or 4 major cities in the UK: Manchester, Birmingham, and London. There's probably a couple of others like Edinburgh, Glasgow, so on and so forth. But if a few people in each one of these cities are walking around with the coronavirus and they don't know they've got it, let's face it, we have more than one international airport in this country, and therefore we do get flights come from China regularly, and other countries now that have got it. I mean, Europe's got it, so it's a matter of time before even ourselves in the UK with the low numbers start to see these numbers increase. I was saying to someone today, I bet you within 2 weeks one of us will have heard of somebody with coronavirus. It is only going to be a matter of time, and something needs to be done. This could be like back in the medieval days, the plague. It could be as bad as that. It could be something that kills many hundreds of thousands of people. So just putting that out there, guys. Maybe you're like me, you're thinking to yourself, okay, what do we need to do in order to sit this out a bit? It's probably going to start with some simple supplies. Where my heart goes out is to the people that are in a job where they are heavily reliant on the salary coming in at the end of the month, because if their job is at threat, like we've heard one of the major car manufacturers in the UK is planning on shutting down within the next 2 weeks its plant because it hasn't got the equipment that needs to come from Hong Kong in order to build its cars, then it isn't just going to be that plant and that manufacturing factory that shuts its doors whilst stocks and necessary supplies don't come from places like China. It is going to be many other companies, and then this is going to have, I guess, a knock-on effect down the line. It could finish off a lot of people even if they don't get the coronavirus. It could finish them off financially, and look at the times we live in. Most people living paycheck to paycheck and hand to mouth, as they say. So I'm just putting that out there. Maybe if you've got a little bit of money, it might be worth just buying some cheap staples, pasta, rice. Put something together with them that you like, that you can mix up at least an emergency food in case you need to. Because if panic starts and there is more talk of lockdowns like we're seeing now around the world, then there is going to be panic buying, and you might not want to be the last person in the shop with the choice of some toilet bleach or a car windscreen wiper blade. I'm just saying, it could well be the case in a few months' time, could be the case in a few weeks' time, we just don't know. But what we do know for sure is that this has gone around the world pretty quick. It's in over 35 countries now. So, interesting times. And this project is an interesting project, I think. Is it picking up cosmic radiation or something else? So guys, I'm going to leave it here. I'm going to say what I usually do. Links down there if you want to help support what we do at the observatory. And as always, I'll say what I usually do. Bye for now. You take care.